Welcome to Echo No More, the podcast for women ready to break free from the patterns of narcissistic abuse and reclaim their voice. I'm Dr. James, a coach and a survivor here to guide you from self-doubt to self-worth, one conversation at a time. Whether you're just beginning your healing journey or are ready to step fully into your power, you'll find tools, stories, and encouragement right here. Let's get started. Today, we're talking about one of the most common painful emotions that shows up during healing: guilt. Especially the kind that floods in right after you finally say no. If you've ever set a boundary and then felt sick to your stomach, anxious, and full of self-doubt, this episode is for you. Have you ever said no to someone and then spent the rest of the day replaying it in your mind, wondering if you were too harsh, too selfish, or too unkind? That spiral isn't proof you did something wrong. It's programming. People who experience narcissistic or emotional abuse are trained over years to equate saying no with danger, because every time we tried to assert ourselves, it was punished through anger, guilt trips, or silent treatment. So now, when you finally reclaim your power, your nervous system sounds the alarm, even though you're doing something healthy. Today, we'll unpack why guilt shows up, how to reframe it, and how to move through it with compassion instead of shame. So let's first talk about why guilt shows up in the first place. Guilt after saying no isn't a moral failure, it's a conditioned trauma response. During the relationship, your boundaries were violated repeatedly, and when you tried to resist, you were punished, sometimes subtly, sometimes overtly. That punishment taught your nervous system one rule: it's not safe to say no. So even now, in freedom, that rule still fires. Every boundary you set feels like rebellion. Every no feels like risk. Abusers use guilt as a leash. It keeps you compliant. It makes you question yourself so deeply that you start apologizing for protecting your own peace. That's not guilt. That's programming. So here's the truth. Guilt doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're healing. The knot in your stomach, it's your nervous system rewiring itself. That overthinking spiral, it's your brain trying to reconcile an old pattern with a new truth. Instead of asking, was I wrong to say no? Ask, was that boundary healthy? Boundaries are not cruelty, they are clarity. Every time you say no to something that drains or disrespects you, you're saying yes to your healing, your safety, and your future peace. So let's talk now about practical things you can do in the moment guilt tries to pull you back. Number 1, self-talk reset. When guilt rises, pause and say, this guilt is growth. It's evidence I'm breaking old patterns. This simple reframe stops your brain from spiraling into shame and reminds you that discomfort is part of healing. Number 2, guilt journal. Each time you feel guilty for saying no, write it down. What did I say no to? Why was that boundary necessary? What happened after? Over time, you'll start to see a pattern. Your no's protect you. They don't harm anyone. You build your own evidence that saying no keeps you safe and stable. Permission slips. Number 3. Write yourself small notes, tangible reminders of your worth. Try this one. I am allowed to say no. My peace matters as much as anyone else's. Or, I do not owe access to anyone who harms my peace. These simple affirmations become neural anchors, small proofs that your no is sacred. I used to apologize for everything, even for being tired, even for saying no to things that hurt me. Every time I tried to set a boundary, I felt like I was abandoning someone. But over time, I realized that guilt wasn't proof I was a bad person. It was proof that I was learning a new way of existing. When I started treating guilt as a sign of growth, not failure, something shifted. It stopped being a stop sign and became a milestone. This week, notice one moment when guilt shows up after you set a boundary. Then, instead of feeding it, write this down. This guilt means I'm healing. That's all. Naming it is enough to start rewiring your response. And healing starts with awareness, and awareness turns guilt into freedom. Thank you for joining me today on Echo No More. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. For free resources and coaching opportunities, visit www.echonomorecoaching.org. And always remember, your voice matters, and the echo ends here.